Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking homeschool high school transcripts. This actually was a viewer question about transcripts, and so I decided that it would be easiest to make a video to show you guys how we are doing our transcript, and I even have a freebie for you. So if homesteading, homemaking, or anything about homeschool is something that interests you, please make sure that you like this video, that you subscribe to our channel, because we are really trying to hone in on what information would be best put out for you guys. And so just making sure that you do those two things kind of gives me a heads up on what content you want to see from our family. Also, you guys can always request videos. We have been homeschooling for this is going into our 4th year. And so we are not experts by any means, but I do have my master's in special education. I had 17 years of teaching in the public school system. And I worked in mostly elementary, but also in special ed. And so I loved teaching my class. I had a self-contained autism class. I've also worked with students with severe and profound intellectual disabilities, medically fragile students, and I've also worked with students with autism that cognitively were very much on board with their typical peers, but just had more behavioral issues. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything. What I have been learning as a homeschool mom is the realm of middle school and high school. My oldest son is 15. He's a sophomore in high school. We just started his dual enrollment through our local technical college. My youngest son is 8. He is in 2nd grade. And so I just love sharing things with you guys because I don't see that there is a ton out there for homeschooling, especially with older kids. I think it's a lot easier to find like cutesy stuff for younger kids, but with older kids, it just seems to be a little bit sparse. And so that's why I try to make sure I'm always sharing what we're doing for high school so we can help you guys. Now, transcripts seem to be one of those things that scare a lot of people. And I know I was definitely scared. For me, homeschooling in elementary and even early middle school, Logan was in 7th grade when we started homeschooling him. He was in a public school prior to that because I was teaching. I just felt that I had a little bit more freedom. We don't do grades in elementary school. I really didn't even do grades much for him during that 7th grade year. I was just really focused on the content and, working with them and making sure that they were learning things. However, as he got older and started 8th grade, and we started looking at the high school courses that he could start in 8th grade and then moving into high school, I knew that I first had to start taking grades for him because a transcript is required to apply for technical school, college. That's what they look at as far as, did you graduate high school? What credits did you have? In Georgia, you have to have so many credits in each different subject, and then also so many elective credits, and you have to have a total, I think it's 23 credits. You have to have a total to graduate, and you have to meet kind of other requirements as far as getting a college prep diploma. There's a lot of different nuances in that, and that may be a video for another day. But a transcript is definitely a requirement if you are looking at having your child apply to a technical college, a regular college, any kind of like post-secondary education situation. You're going to need a transcript. The nice thing that I have learned about transcripts, however, is that they are not as difficult as we turn them into. Honestly, you can create a transcript in Word, just in a table, as long as you have the basic information. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip my camera around, and I'm going to show you the transcript master that I use. I did not create this. It is in Excel. I am not an Excel guru. So I'm going to show you the one that I use. My friend created it and sent it to me. And so you can see kind of what the requirements would be. And then we will talk through how you could just do this in a Word document and make it even easier if you'd like to. Okay, so the basics of a transcript is you want to record student information, so name, you can do gender if you choose to, birth date, address, city, state, all of that. And then the most important part, of course, is the student academic history. And what I've done here is I've left this in. This was Logan's history for 8th and 9th grade. All right, so you can see here, I have our school year in here. He was a freshman. Now, because he started some of his high school courses in 8th grade, I just noted that by adding the asterisks. These are the courses that in 8th grade he took that counted towards his freshman high school credits. Over the course of the year, when we finished, I just averaged his grade. That's what he got. Because it was a year-long course, which for Georgia is 120 hours of work. In all reality, you will do more than 120 hours, but the minimum is 120 hours. That gives you a whole unit. And then for that, his grade point for that is a 4. And I'll explain that in just a minute. And then again, his grade point here is a 4. So I filled these out as we completed courses. And since we school year round, this is kind of a working document for me because some courses he finishes right within a school year. So say from August to the end of May, and he's absolutely finished. Algebra 1 is one of those. He finishes that typically on time. Some of these take a little bit longer. The elective here for agriculture and organic gardening, that one took us a little bit longer because we started it in January and then we worked through the following December. But because we started it during his freshman year, I counted it as a credit for his freshman year. So you essentially want to make sure that you are recording the subject, the title of your course, the grade, the final grade that they average for that course, how much it's worth, so whether it's an entire credit or you can see down here, half a credit would be 60 hours, so how much of a credit it's worth, the grade point for each of those, and then that then travels over here to the grade point for the unit, okay? So the way she has this table set up is that as you fill this out, it calculates the GPA. It calculates all these totals and averages, and it calculates the GPA for you. Now, what I use for the grade point, and it's great to note this, is down here, she also has noted the grading system. So what letter grade would be attached to what numeric average. And then here, what the scale is, what the GPA scale is. I don't really stress too much about this grading system. Like, I don't give A pluses and A minuses. If you have a 90 or above, you just have an A. I don't get that fancy with it because, in all honesty, nobody cares. What they really care is what the final grade is and then what it is on this scale. And here you can even see, so courses taken at the college level will be given an added weight of 0.5 points. So up here, when I get all of this filled out for his sophomore year, all of his 2 classes that he's taking right now as dual enrollment classes will have an added weight. So they will count more. This calculates everything for me, and that's great. I love it. It is not my forte to mess with all of that, but it also doesn't have to be quite that complicated. The next thing you do need to make sure that you're entering is summary. So the estimated graduation date, you want to make sure that you have your attendance in for each of the years, how many graduation units, so how many credits you end up with, and then also your final GPA. This section here with additional student information is really kind of a bonus. A lot of times with homeschool kids, people who are not familiar with homeschool don't really understand that we tend to create school around their interests. And so for a lot of times, a lot of your elective classes can be created based on what your child is interested in. So for example, down here, I would list hunting and outdoors. And the nice thing is, up here, you can see we were actually able to turn his hunting, and he had to take some safety courses through the state to get his license. We were able to turn that into an elective course. So this area right here, this additional student information, achievements, interest activities, volunteer and extracurricular, this is really a bonus, but it does look nice when you're applying to a college. And then this section here, schools added in on the transcript. You would put the name of school, the address of the school, any place that you're sending it to. And then down here, school officials. This section kind of makes me laugh because pretty much it's your name going in both of these, but it is just, kind of makes it look official. Okay, so you can see here in a much simpler format that basically I'm going to do the same thing. This was just a table in a Word document. I made sure that I had the identifying information at the top, and then I left space for the subject, the name of the course, the grades, how many units it was, the grade point, and then here GPU. So what the main difference is going to be by doing it in a word table is you're just going to have to do the math here for this. It's not going to auto-populate. But essentially, that's just one more step. If working in Excel makes you nervous, then don't. I would just do it in a Word document. As long as you have each of the subjects documented, as well as the grades and how long, you're really covered as far as a transcript goes. All right, so just to clarify a few things. If you are doing a transcript in Word, like I showed you, and you are gonna have to do the math, let's talk about what a couple of those columns are, all right? So your unit is whether it's a 1 or a 0.5, whether you had 120 hours, it's a full course, it's a full year's course, or it's a half course, 0.5, it's a half of a credit, okay? So 1 credit, half a credit, all right? Your next one, your GP is your grade point. So that is determined, that's on that 4-point scale, and that is determined by what letter grade you made. So A equals a 4.0, B equals a 3.0, so on and so forth. All right, your GPU, grade point unit. So this is taken by multiplying your grade point, so like a 4.0, by the unit of credit. So whether it's a whole credit or a half of credit, okay? So for example, if I have an A for a whole credit class, my GPU is going to be 4.0, or it's just going to be a 4. It's just going to be a 4. You don't have to do all the 0.0 stuff, okay? If I have an A, so if I have a 4 in a half a credit class, half times 4 is 2. So my GPU for that course is going to be a 2, all right? Now, the reason this is important is because it factors into your cumulative GPA. That is figured by multiplying your GPU, or not multiplying, I'm sorry. That is figured by dividing your GPU divided by the number of credits total. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so on this transcript, you can see here the grade points for each of these courses, okay? And you see here, the whole unit course, he got a 4, it's a 4, and that carries over. Here, he had a B, so it's a 3, it's a 3, it carries over. Down here, you can see in some of these electives, and then also some of the like civics and economics, those are each a semester course, those are worth half a credit. He made an A in them, but half times 4 is 2. So his total grade point is 46. He completed 10.5 units is what he's getting credit for his freshman year. And then here, his GPU is 40. His cumulative GPA is taking this number, 40, dividing it by 10.5, and you get 3.809, blah, blah, blah. So a 3.81, all right? Now, if you have this already filled in and Excel'd and everything, it will do it for you. And what it does on this form is it actually just carries it over, and then as I add things in, it updates everything. If you're doing it yourself in Word because Excel scares you, that's fine. You just have to do the math yourself, and that's okay. It's totally possible. Took a calculator on my phone. It wasn't that difficult. So that's it. Transcripts really aren't scary. I think for us, we build them up in our head because it seems very official, and it is. However, all it is just the record of the numerical grades that your student has, okay? This is not the place that you want to type in all of the like the name of the curriculum that you used. Nothing like that needs to go on this. This is very black and white. This is all numbers and just names of courses. Now, what I do, because I like to track what we've used, especially in instances where I've created courses, then I put on their yearly summary that you are supposed to do for the state. I make a list of all the curriculum that we used that year for those courses. And in the instances where I have created the courses, for example, the organic gardening course, I listed all the resources, the books, the websites, the articles, YouTube videos. I listed all the resources that Logan used to learn to do the book work for that course. Now, most of that course was field work. It was actually out in the garden, building compost piles, learning how to do things like that. But because those things all have, there's always reading about whatever topic you're doing. If your child is interested in welding, there's literature on welding. You can assign that as coursework. But that is in a separate document. That does not go on a transcript. You may have a college ask you, especially being a homeschool student, you may have a college ask you for the curriculum that you used as far as how you achieved these credits. Our college did not. They were more than excited that he had good grades and that he was really kind of ahead in a few areas as far as what his coursework was. So that's a great thing to have prepared, but that does not go on your transcript. This is simply just your kid in numbers on a piece of paper. So I hope that gave you a little bit more clarification as to what a complete transcript would look like. They truly aren't difficult, but if you're not used to looking at them, they can seem a little overwhelming. So I'd like to go one step further and offer to share my master transcript with anyone who feels like it would just make it really simple for you. So I will leave my email down in the description. You can shoot me an email and I will send you that master copy, and you can start filling out your own transcript on that, or you can take it and create a Word transcript if that would be easier for you format-wise. But I feel like giving you guys this, since it was given to me, I need to pass it forward. and I wanted to make sure that everyone feels a little bit more confident as they are getting ready to get their high schooler through these last few years of school and into whatever your next phase is. I hope you guys found this video informative, and I hope it took some of your nervousness out of creating transcripts, and I'll talk to you guys soon.